Welcome to the Leo Kanan Podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Let's talk about Fresh and Fit and what's really happening in American culture with this, the manosphere thing, and why this is extremely dangerous. You know, so we we've got quite a few things happening in the world right now. We got the Korea thing going on. We've got couple of things going on with Russia, Ukraine, our elections with Trump and Biden. We got the ships down by Cuba. And so there's like all this stuff going on. Trump running for president. We've got the Supreme Court thing going on. And in the meantime, one of the most dangerous things we have going on that's like actually attacking American social fabric is this manosphere. It's what it is it's these guys talking about what, high value men do, or what high value men behavior patterns are, and proclivities and things like that. And they're talking about these things as if they're speaking on it from first person, and they're not. And because everything they're saying is the antithesis of what a high value man is, or how he moves, operates, and functions in the world. Oh yeah. Like, let's take the monogamy. This part. Let's just jump off. Did I cut you off?
No, you're fine. Okay.
Let's talk about monogamy. Now, these guys are, and first let me say this. It's, if whatever BS he wants to spit out as if it's his personal philosophy and how he feels about things, that's fine. Everybody's got the opportunity to get a mic in front of them, and it's, capitalism, and we're experiencing a renaissance of sorts right now. So with that being said, it's extremely irresponsible for him to say that he's speaking as if he was a high value man. He needs a disclaimer on the front of his podcast, kind of like they did with, the WWF or whatever, the wrestling back in the day, when they, had to, declare that it was an entertainment sport.
Yeah,
it was not real wrestling or fighting.
Yeah.
They had to let everybody, and I don't know why they had to do that, because if you didn't realize it was entertainment.
Oh yeah, that was the whole thing.
Like, why wouldn't you know this is entertainment?
Right.
But anyway, right now this is a little more of a nuanced thing, because what this is doing is telling these young men that this is how high value men act, and so, for example, the monogamy. They're saying that, a high value man is promiscuous.
Yeah.
They're just saying, just because you're a high value man, this goes with the territory. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't extremely successful men that, go out and do things. But that's the way he's presenting it to these younger boys, these younger men, is as if this is what it is.
Yeah, like this is the norm, and so if this is who you want to be, this is how you should just be acting all the time.
This is
and it's
right.
It makes makes guys, and especially younger guys, just seem like assholes.
Yeah, but these guys are, and these boys, these young men are vulnerable. It's like it's actually weakening them, and they're trying to do it in response to how they believe, the girls are acting, or the young women are acting. So it's supposed to be in response to that. But see, that's where you mess up, because male energy doesn't react, it acts. And what I mean by that, the important distinction to that, is if all the female behavior is going off the rails, masculine behavior doesn't follow it off the cliff.
Right. It shouldn't.
It shouldn't follow it off the cliff. And so what he's doing is telling, okay, the girls, all the girls in our generation want to be, OnlyFans girls or shake their butts on the internet, and none of them want to settle down. None of them, they all want to be promiscuous now. And so this is how we have to behave in response to that. That's not what masculinity is. That's not what high value is.
Yeah.
You don't react to that.
Mm-hmm.
You take it up a higher octave.
Mm-hmm.
And so as a man, what you would do if all the women that are accessible to you is following this new behavior pattern, what you do is you take your behavior to a higher octave and you just become celibate.
Mm-hmm.
You focus on yourself. You focus on craft. You focus on if nature is causing women to act like this, mm-hmm. what it is doing is expecting a higher reaction from the man, and not to the man to follow the woman, jump off the cliff behind the woman.
Yeah, it's trying to even it out.
Right.
So if he reacts at a higher octave, it'll bring her
back up to a higher octave.
Back up to a higher octave, but also even out all of the whatever that's making her want to go off the cliff.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Because remember, feminine energy is receptive. Mm-hmm. So whatever's making her want to go off the cliff is that she's responding, she's reacting. Yeah. And so, we can't talk about this, and we're not talking about this on an individual basis. We're talking about this like in a generational.
Yeah.
Yeah. So within that generation, you're going to have different people doing different things, but we're talking about that, Neptunian energy. You don't want to scare anybody off. We're talking about, planetary influences or not. I don't want to freak anybody out here, but, it's a Neptunian generational energy that controls that herd. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so the generation to generation, Neptune, that energy dictates those behavior patterns.
Yeah, and it's definitely a wild place now compared to, my generation, and it the generation younger, it's unrecognizable.
Yeah.
So it's a hell of a swing.
So back to the fresh and fit guys.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that they do, which is really damaging, so they get all these young women on here and they get the girls, they're inebriated. These girls are
loosened up.
They're loosened up a little bit. They look like they've been working a night shift or whatever, whatever reasons. And there's no judgment there. Mm-hmm. But he gets these girls and he gets them in there and he belittles them and he puts them down and he shouts them down.
Oh, yeah.
And, you don't say anything on my podcast, or you can't, just really disrespecting these girls. And they're basing it off all these logical fallacies.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the logical fallacies. Those are fun.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, and then if the girls outthink them,
ooh, that's even worse.
They'll try and shame them with religion.
Yeah.
Well, if that was working, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Right.
So what needs to happen is these guys need to be exposed so that young men can see that these guys are leading them all off a cliff.
Yeah, I think a lot of the younger guys that are paying attention to them are easily distracted because they talk about they have money. Maybe they have some money put away. They look like they have nice things. They project this lifestyle that if you take a good look at it, you can see how flimsy it is.
Yeah.
But if you're, a young kid that's listening and you don't know how to spot it, you don't know what you're looking at because you have no experience in the world, you think they're the real deal because...
And that's what makes them so dangerous.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about the guy who does the
gold digger videos.
Thing. He shows up and he's got a really nice car that, $200,000 car or more type car. And then he pulls up on the side of the street and he's approaches some girl that's walking by. And when she shoots him down, Then he goes and starts up the car, and then she goes over there, and then he gets her in the car, and then he cusses her out and berates her for being a gold digger and tell her to get the hell out the car.
Yeah.
You know?
It's completely ridiculous. Like, if you really own that car, you're not hitting on women in the middle of the day walking down the street.
Right. You're not hitting on women in the middle of the day. You got some structure in your life that has merited the success to afford a $200,000 car or more. So that's come along with certain types of disciplines. And that doesn't include picking up women on the side of the street.
Right.
That could potentially rob you, set you up, put you in a liable situation.
Yeah.
You know, this girl on the side of the street, you got in the car, you know, there's no NDAs being signed, there's no non-disclosure, there's no nothing.
Yeah.
But you've earned your way to a lifestyle that merits you driving around in a $500,000 car.
Yeah.
Now, these young girls don't know this. You're just some bum walking up the street, and then you try and pick her up, and she shoots you down. Now, that's okay if it's like some type of a Red Skeleton video, or if it's some type of Benny Hill skit, because they all remind me of, like, you remember Benny Hill?
Oh, I used to love Benny Hill.
These little skits remind me of like a Benny Hill skit. The only thing that's missing is you would speed it up,
and the circus music,
and then you would put that Benny Hill music to it.
Yeah,
and dun 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 dun, and then you would show him, and it would just speed it up a frame or two, and it's magic.
Yeah,
that's what it looks like.
Yeah, like go ahead. Sorry.
No, but my point is that, you know, that's okay. If it's entertainment and if it's getting you paid and you're getting likes and you're getting subscribers, that's okay. But to present it to the vulnerable generation that's coming up behind you, that these guys, you're leading these guys off a cliff, but what it's going to do is breaking down the future social structure of the country.
Yeah.
And so since most Americans are asleep at the wheel anyway, they don't know what the real strength of America is, and it's not our military, because that can get us all wiped out.
Yeah.
So that can't be it. Now our military is capable of wiping, you know, some other people out, but there's militaries capable of wiping us out. So that's not our strength. Our strength is our social structure, because that's what supports the economy. You see what I mean? And that's where the strength of your nation comes from, is from your economy. You know, now the military protects and it serves as very crucial part of the organism, but it's not that inner strength of it. It's not the cell. You know what I mean? It's not the nucleus.
So how does our social structure differ from like Russia or China's per se? Because like we kind of, ours is all classed by how much money you make, right?
Well, we live in a capitalist society.
Yeah.
And Russia it's a communist society. You see? And so what that means is, if, you know, not to spook anybody else, but these have planetary influences. So a capitalist society in ancient Rome, that was governed by Jupiter. And this is an expanding society.
Yeah.
And capitalism is constantly growing and is constantly expanding, and by its very nature is greedy. You see what I mean? It's a gluttonous if it gets away from itself.
Yeah, it is.
But that's the downside. The thing is to evolve into a species where we learn those limitations through trial and error, and we can have a capitalist nation on a planet that doesn't eat itself to death.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so a communist society would be about limitations, because it's Saturnian. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And now that's gonna, on a social level, it's gonna look different. And capitalism on a social level, that Jupiter energy is an entrepreneurial spirit, where you can grow and you can put in hard work, and through trial and error, whatever the system is designed, you have bankruptcies and things like that, so you can reset, and those things help support a capitalist society. And that's the fabric of our society.
Yeah.
And what supports that society is a nuclear family structure. You need a nuclear family structure to support that capitalist society like that. And so, if that basic communication or relationship component is destroyed in a capitalist society, it will ultimately it will slowly deteriorate the strength of the economy. Now, it's not like, we may not see the full effects of it in the generation right now, but we're looking into future generations, because once these things happen, they have to run their course. They have to play themselves out.
Yeah.
And so we're still running the course in the world from the creation of the Barbie doll and the Oppenheimer moment. I do know that what this Fresh and Fit thing is doing is attacking the fabric, telling young boys that, being promiscuous and not being able to maintain a monogamous relationship is synonymous with success.
Yeah, they present it like it should be a point of pride.
Yeah, almost like it's a point of pride. Like, he said one time, he said something about a woman's orgasm is not important.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, he said something about he get his orgasm, and this is what I mean why this has to be discussed. As our listeners, as a rule, may not even heard of Fresh and Fit. This may be something that goes under their radar.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about it anyway because they need to be aware of it, because it is damaging the future generation.
Yeah. Well, and the thing too, like, as a guy, if you're saying that kind of stuff, you have zero track record with women or understanding or even just basic observation.
Well, more importantly than that, not to diminish that point, but more importantly than that, if you think like that, you have no idea what defines a successful man.
Yeah.
And so therefore you are leading a generation of young men off a cliff because you're misleading them.
Yeah.
You're misleading them and telling them this is the behavior patterns that garner respect and high value and success. And since that's such an important lie that he's telling, because it's the antithesis of what supports a capitalist society. You know what I mean? Now, as you get to the top of a capitalist society, capitalism is, to some degree, synonymous with greed.
Yeah.
So the more successful you become at a capitalist society, you can become, your appetites can get out of hand in all areas.
Oh yeah.
If you're not well aware of yourself, your appetites can get away from you. But your appetites can get away from you at any rung up the ladder. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, if you were born at the top of the ladder, you can just be in a position where your whole world is structured already and you can just express those appetites.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that there's an infallibility at any point in the system. But the point I'm trying to make is that what he's doing is inherently damaging to the base of that pyramid that upholds that entire structure. And that corrosion will take time to set in, and we will feel the effects of it in future generation. Our sons and our grandsons will have to deal with that.
How much do you feel like as a woman, like you hear the things he's talking about and there's like an instinctual grimace, like it's just abhorrent, or like how he talks to women, like How much do you think young men have that like instinctual thing that's like, that's not right, or it's, disgusting to them? You know what I mean?
You would hope a lot of them.
Yeah.
You don't know, and the reason why you don't know, because you look at other statistics in society, like drug abuse and porn abuse and, video games and, listlessness and different things in society that can be indicators that would reflect back about, how they're receiving something like that. So you will hope that some young men got their antenna up and know, okay, this dude don't know what the hell he's talking about.
Yeah, or even like I can even see how some, like, maybe they have that instinct in them, but they have no other guidance or whatever to help them nurture that part and identify, make them confident and like, no, these guys are shit.
Well, yeah, I kind of know what you're saying. It's like, think about like a game of basketball. Mm-hmm. And there's rules to a game of basketball. You got a shot clock, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You got a 3-point line. You got limitations on how many steps you can take, on how much physical force you can use against another player. You got all these rules and regulations that govern the game so that it's a fair game, and it can be based on the expression of athletic prowess. And mm-hmm. so those limitations and boundaries are designed in a way so that athletic prowess can shine.
Yeah.
Now, let's say you get this kid over here that has never played the game, mm-hmm. okay? And he's only seen the game through a foggy window anyway.
Yeah.
And so now you got somebody out here that looking at the game through that same, foggy window, and he's going to go back and tell us other kids that this is how it's being played. You can take 7 steps to the basket.
Right.
You can push somebody over and get the ball. You can run into somebody like a Mack truck and get the ball. Mm-hmm. Because you follow me? Yes. You can do all these things. He's telling you can do all these things, and then now you send those kids in there to play the game.
Oh, yeah. And they're fouled out in 2 minutes.
Yeah. And they have no idea.
Yeah.
Now, that's fine. It has entertainment value. We are here for the bread and circuses, but with something like that, the way it is just spreading through American society like a virus or something, because we're in the age of viruses. So there's not just biological viruses. These new podcast things are a type of virus.
Yeah.
There also is a social virus. Mm-hmm. It has to be looked at it like that, and it has to be treated like that. It needs a vaccine. Mm-hmm. To stop it, to stomp it out. And that's how this like Fresh and Fit need to be addressed. You can't, you gotta put it out there, you gotta put a disclaimer on them.
Oh yeah.
Or they're gonna keep tearing these boys down. So there was this one time they were on this, I think it was an Australian morning show or something. And the Fresh and Fit guy was on an Australian morning show, and there was a male and a female host on there. I can't remember their names, mm-hmm. but they told this girl mm-hmm. So there's this one Australian talk show or morning show that they Fresh and Fit were guests on. Mm-hmm. And they told the female host that she couldn't cheat. She had to be completely monogamous, but he was entitled to go out and do whatever he wants to do.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think I know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the sense of entitlement, like.
There's no entitlement there. That's just stupidity. He doesn't believe he's entitled to that.
Well, he couldn't get it to begin with.
Yeah, that's not coming from a place of entitlement. That's coming from a place of guesswork
and wishful thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just some of the ways I've heard him go off on women on his show, it's scary. Like, he hates women. Like, he got hurt so bad in whatever previous situations he's had in his life that it would be scary for him to be in a relationship. Like, I would worry for her.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that.
Like, there was one clip where he was talking about fear and respect, and that women need to have fear in order to respect the man. And I was like, that's really dangerous to be putting out there.
Yeah, wow. I think I remember that one. I'm trying to see.
Oh, yeah. I'll make sure I have the link in the description.
So what he's saying is the only way to get that respect is through fear.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you get a woman to respect you, is through fear.
Yeah.
So, I mean, can you see how dangerous that is?
Oh, as a woman, that's essentially telling men that they need to abuse you in some form or fashion.
Yeah. Or the threat of abuse somehow.
Yeah. But the threat's not okay.
No, the threat's not okay either, but I'm saying that's what he's saying. There needs to be fear.
Yeah.
Like that's what I mean.
Yeah.
And so that's why these guys got to be shut down, or they have to be shown for what they are, which is, part of the carnival.
Yeah. It's definitely a carnival.
Yeah, I mean, you have a lot of that going on, but we're here for the carnival. If you get a front row seat to the carnival, then, that's great if you get tickets to the carnival. If you don't have tickets to the carnival, that means you're in it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. People always forget that. They're like, if there's problems all around me and I keep moving groups and the problems keep reoccurring, then maybe I'm the fucking problem.
Yeah.
That was the scariest thing I've heard from them. And I can't imagine it getting much worse. Like, nothing else was good, but.
Well, I can imagine it getting much worse. The fallout from Fresh and Fit. Yeah. Whatever that's gonna like. Mm-hmm. That's why I want to sit here and talk about them, because the fallout from them, which is when these boys get out here, that the ones that are weak enough to have believed this to any degree, and they get out here. We've been dealing with some real violent acts in the recent past in terms of guys, murder suicides and, people.
It seems like that's gone up a lot. Or, the use of orders of protection and things like that.
Yeah. So, but that's what the fallout is going to look like.